Hello, everybody. If it's Wednesday, it's Warhammer, and it's time for a very unusual episode because it's another hotel show. It's been years since I've done a hotel show, but here we are, and I'm here with John
Hi.
and Scott.
Hello.
We're all over in the UK because it's what are we here for? The Heresy Weekender. That's what this is called.
Heresy.
Did you forget, like, momentarily?
I mean, let's say no.
Okay.
Seems better if I
Me
say
and
no.
John just woke up from a little 2-hour nap, so we're a little
Loopy.
yeah.
Yeah. I slept on the plane, so I'm good. Woke up, it was morning, so it's morning now. Jet lag doesn't exist if, you just man up.
It's powerful.
Okay.
You said it's Wednesday. I'm not sure it's actually Wednesday.
Yeah,
Vince.
yeah. Do you know for a fact it is?
Even by where you are, which would be 6 hours behind where we are now,
Yes.
it is Wednesday.
Debatable.
All right.
Yeah.
I'll take your word for it.
So we're not going to do much of the normal show today. Instead, we're going to keep it pretty simple. This will be a shorter show as a hotel show because there's a lot going on, both for what we're doing over here, but also in the world. And the AOS reveal is tomorrow.
Sure.
And so, whatever. So this will be a little unusual. We're going to talk about the coolest models in Warhammer history. I had to get something that I thought Scott and John would be competent at.
Whoa.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't even know, like, the rule set for Age of Sigmar 3.0, so that's fair. That's fair.
Right. I wasn't going to be like, so let's do a Battle Tome review, guys.
That'd be the most scuffed review on your channel.
Right. So instead, we're going to talk about cool models, which is universal and evergreen and always good, and something we all have opinions on.
This is not an opinion show. This is a fact show.
Yeah.
These are the best models.
These, what we're going to show you today, are in fact the best models. So on new stuff, I don't know if I'll do a stream tomorrow after the AOS reveal. I mean, we have a good idea. Couple quick news items up top. The important thing to say is, yes, the AOS reveal is tomorrow. May do a stream after it, depending on like Tom and Tyler's availability. Might do one late at night, not sure. They added new banners.
Yeah. Oh, did they? I
They
didn't
did.
see that.
They did. They added new banners in the other images they shared, and they added 2 Skaven banners.
Well.
Well.
Wait, hold on. Help me out here. Is a banner significant in some way?
Yeah, so like on the reveal show, that they put up the like Warhammer Fest, and they hang all these little banners in their little graphic. Okay.
Yeah.
And so you saw like the Leagues of Votan face,
Oh.
and you saw like the Imperial Fist and the Horus, Sons of Horus,
Okay.
icons. Obviously, each of those ties to something they're going to do on the 3-4 days of reveals, right?
Right.
There is definitely a Sylvaneth banner.
Yes.
I'm calling that if that wasn't officially spoiled.
Right,
But,
exactly.
okay.
So we saw the we saw the Sylvaneth banners previously. So we know we're going to get some kind of Sylvaneth stuff. Probably the confirmation that's the summer book. Maybe we see some new models for tree people. So some
It's
new
been a
elf
while,
trees.
right?
It's been a while.
It's been a while.
There you go. Good. And so, but there was no Skaven banner, and I've long been saying I think that the summer Chaos Tome is Skaven, and then all of a sudden, just randomly, 2 days ago, boom,
We got it.
Banner.
new Skaven banners. Got them.
This has got to mean that we're beyond just Underworlds.
One hopes.
Yeah, I
One
mean,
hopes.
what are they going to do? Put another Underworlds warband? Because once you do one, that's all
Well,
they
they
can
have
do.
2 Skaven warbands for Underworlds at this point.
They
right?
do, yes.
Yeah,
Well, yeah, because the second one came out in Another Maze.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not going to put a banner up from the Skaven warbands from 2018.
Fine.
We're re-releasing them. So if we actually see new Skaven tomorrow, obviously that's going to be an exciting thing. My mission to get into the bowels of GW and look at any new Skaven sculpts that are in the building might not be as necessary if they just show them tomorrow. In which case I'll just be like, that's good. I'm just going to go ahead and borrow. Let me just go ahead and shovel all these.
Scrape them in.
like I've had to coming back from Warhammer World. I have previously thrown out clothes to shove all of my like model kits into a bag.
Oh, baby.
So I'm not afraid to do it again.
We don't have to do that, luckily, because John's suitcase is like the size of 17 toddlers, and so we can fit all kinds of extra goodies in there.
Did you? So you checked a bag?
Yeah.
We both did.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we check bags. And mine's like 30% full.
The disgust on this man's face.
Gross.
They paid for it. I'm not gonna not do it.
Everything I do carries in one backpack.
Yeah.
I could have done that, but
We had
Scott's like, I'm checking a bag. I'm like, well, if he's checking a bag, I'm going to wait there either way.
Right, yeah. And I had,
Awful.
like, filming equipment, all that stuff, made it easier in a bag like that.
We have a laptop on a trash can right
That's
now.
right.
Yeah.
This is high tech setup we've got right here. Look, I brought this microphone. You know how heavy that was
Yeah.
in my bag?
Yeah.
Standing in an 1.5 hour long security line. Look, I just want to say real quick,
Yeah.
Terminal 2.
Yeah.
Listen, UK government, I assume you're watching. Folks, we got to talk about this immigration security check-in. An 1.5 hour, the longest queue I have ever seen in my entire life. I know this country loves queues. I really do. It's a thing.
Yeah.
But this was beyond the pale. I was sending photos to these guys and like I couldn't get the whole thing in any single shot. It was
No.
unreasonable.
Yes, it was.
So at any rate, let's talk about. So that was it. That's our news and our fun story here. We're all over here. We're all excited. We're going to do a lot of fun stuff over the course of this week. Is this both of your? So here's the question before we get into the actual thing.
Yes.
Is this for each of you your first time at Warhammer World?
Yes.
Yes. We got the drive-by from our wonderful driver, Jim. He drove us by slowly, and we got to see. He's like, oh, there's the tank, and there's the little armor man.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jim.
Yeah.
The little armor man.
Yes.
Very
That
nice.
was our first exposure. We crested a hill, and then it was like, oh, Warhammer World.
So we haven't been inside yet, but this will be it.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So since this is both of your first times, it feels like the first time.
The very first time.
John, what is your one thing you want to see, experience at Warhammer World?
I want to go bowling.
That's not an option. That isn't a thing.
Okay. Shit. I don't know then. I don't know.
Here's the thing. I feel like I don't know what you can do at Warhammer World because they are kind of like hush hush about like exposing that like on the internet and videos and stuff.
Sure.
I know there's like a museum.
There
I know
is.
There's like a Bugman's bar.
There is.
An area to play games.
Yes, there is.
presumably. And
That
that's
is
kind
ultra.
of all I know. Like
That-
what else? What even is there?
That's like the big three.
Okay. The big three. Okay.
That's the big three.
I want to go to Bugman's bar.
Assuming you're not being let in behind the curtain into the secret areas. Those are the three things.
Oh, like the Willy Wonka factory? I want to go there then.
Yeah, there's definitely an extra layer of security that is, yes, the Willy Wonka factory.
Okay. All right.
Correct. But much the same, you could accidentally end up inflating yourself and turning purple or falling into some kind of chocolate river, only it's going to be just sprue plastic.
Yeah, the
so it'll
GW
be-
equivalent of that.
Yeah, exactly. Much more horrible.
If anyone hears, like, way off in the distance, someone say, I want it, Daddy, and I want it now.
Yeah,
That's me.
No, that's just me talking about the Skaven models.
Vince against pounding a door.
I want the Skaven. I want them now. Yeah, absolutely.
So you've been before, though. So you're
I
gonna
have, many
you're gonna
times.
be our unofficial tour guide.
Well, I think they're actually providing a real tour guide.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You
But
can
yes,
do the
that's
voiceover.
fine.
You just interpret.
Right.
What
Yeah.
they're saying.
Yeah. Translate for us.
Sure.
What is he saying, Vince?
Exactly. So I will say the museum tour is super cool, and I know that they have that queued up for
good.
us for the weekend. It is very worth it because they have stuff going all the way back to the beginning. They really do have some very, very, very incredible, impressive, like dioramic battle scenes built. There is a Skaven versus Dwarflin that's real ace.
Ooh.
It's like multi-layers. You can walk around it, see it from different sides, all these different tunnels that are, engaging in a bunch of fights. So it's cool. That's cool. It's good stuff.
That is awesome.
And then Jess said you can also go to Warlord Games or Bad Squiddo Games. They're both in Nottingham as well. Yes, that is true. They're like not far away, actually.
Really?
Yeah, there's a lot of actual people making games in Nottingham because think about you're a designer, you worked for GW for a while, you live in Nottingham, you leave, you go start your own company,
You're still here.
you're still here,
Sure.
right? You're not going to just randomly move somewhere else in the Midlands. So there you go. Yeah, so
Okay.
there's actually quite a lot of companies here.
Okay.
So are we going to talk about the oopsie poopsie in the room that happened this week in regards to Age of Sigmar.
Oopsie poopsie.
The book.
Oh,
that
the
was
Chaos Leak?
that was shown to the internet that was
Sure.
not supposed to.
We can extend this news thing a little longer. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
fine. I'm
because
okay
once they showed the roadmap of releases for books for Age of Sigmar, they went all the way up to like winter, like January 2023, and the book that was shown was the last book.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Meaning,
Year?
I heard the rumor. Rumor has it. that-
Adele shared, yes.
Yes, apparently Adele ordered a Slaves to Darkness book, and instead they accidentally sent her the unreleased one.
Adele.
Yeah, Adele.
Because rumor has it.
Rumor has it.
Oh.
See, that would be one of her most popular songs.
No, I know.
Okay.
But like, it's not a real thing.
No.
You just said it so you could say rumor has it.
Yes, this is all a joke.
I am upset now.
All right. So the chaos thing is super interesting because obviously we had this leak. It was clearly the real book. It was a limited edition tome, right? And it was leaked. Like people taking in the year of our Lord, 2022. How do we still get these like low res fuzzy potato pictures? Who has their like Nokia
I
from
don't know.
2002
They're
that
playing-
they bust out to take these photos?
Yeah,
They're
it's like-
playing Snake,
No.
and then they're like, "I gotta take a picture quick."
It's like at Warhammer World, like as soon as you walk through the door, it just like pixelizes all your photos, like in your phone. It's
Right.
kind of like high tech security.
Yeah.
Yes, that's next level.
Yeah.
So so we get all these like bad photos, circling around, and then yes, in response we get like some fuzzy pictures of the new demon prince, some other new characters, and clearly models. Like there's a sizable chunk to this
Oh, yeah.
release. That's what we see. We're teased by the page that shows like the table of contents that says the Horns of Hashut, clearly a new Warcry warband.
Oh, okay.
Okay. And Hashut is classically the Chaos Dwarves god, right?
Ooh.
And so everybody's all excited, like, oh my god, are we getting a Chaos Dwarf Warcry warband? And then the further pictures leak out, and no, they're just humans who like Hashut, I guess. So it's just a cultural appropriation of Hashut.
They're just like, shit, these are actually just regular people.
It's just regular people. So
It's not a swear, it's a Warhammer word.
Yeah.
yes. So
Well,
yeah,
that's a
I mean,
rule.
it came out it is 7 books away.
Yes.
That's the one that leaked. 7 books away. All right, so that led me. Everybody was like talking about it, and it was all the news. Then they released the roadmap showing them 7 books away. Now, they didn't explain what the other 6 are. We're pretty sure at this point that realistically, given the banners, Skaven and Sylvaneth are the summer books. Okay, so that's 2 out of the. So now we know 3 out of the 7. There's still those middle 4, which is like 1 order, 1 chaos, and 2 destruction. If you're death, take a hike. Nobody likes that.
No.
So sorry, both of you who have death armies, you get nothing.
Well, we just got
That
a big
was
old
well
release.
timed well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean you're fine. You've got your soul blight, so
Oh, yeah.
that's
Well, then,
you're in a good
Night
spot.
Hunt- Flex 7.
Nighthaunt are confirmed, right?
Sure. Yes.
More or less, if they're not,
Confirmed for what?
that they're going to get a new book. So this is all after that.
Yes. Correct.
Right. So what else would there be? OBR? I mean, they need way more time to like redo that entire book.
OBR, FEC. Yeah.
Okay.
Those would be like FEC is
FEC, they're on life support at best.
So Arturia said people are saying LRL for the autumn, and I'm not sure how I feel about that. I mean, I'll tell you right now, I would absolutely believe it. LRL is going to be a once a year release because we live in the worst timeline. That's what it is. Like, I just believe the nature of everything I see in the world is like, no, that fits. Like, it's terrible, so it fits. So that's what it would be. And yes, Nighthaunt book has all been leaked, which we're not. We'll do a whole Nighthaunt show.
Me and Tom is going to be so excited.
You have to understand, Tom goes through an emotional roller coaster
Okay.
with every book. It doesn't matter how good it would be.
Yes.
He's going to be like sad because it changed, and then he's going to be angry, and then he's going to find things he likes, and then he's going to start being accepted. Then he's going to think it's like the coolest book ever. But he's got to go through his own 5 stages of Tom's acceptance of a book. It's what happens. And I have to put up with it every time.
You just gotta wait for the Tom breaks the book phase.
Yeah, it's this roller coaster, and you just ride it out.
Yeah. Okay. So we think that by the fact that there were 7 books before this Chaos book,
Yes.
this has got to be a true oops, right?
A super duper oopsie doozy. Yes,
Yeah.
oopsie doozy.
Oopsie doozy.
Like somebody who was at the book printer or something like that. Like that's an internal leak
Yes.
in their supply chain.
Yeah, but the image though, why is it so pixelized?
Because people share it and then take pictures of pictures and like who
So
knows?
where's the original image though?
It's just like took this
It got
picture.
shared around. Somebody probably took a good picture, but then shared it 50 ways, compressed through 100 different weird social media things.
They're old people like me,
And then we all got to the
Scott. They
fuzzy
just I
images.
take a picture of the Red Bull, and then
Where
you
are the-
take a picture of my
Where
picture
are the
with your
progressively
phone.
worse photos? This is like trying to
This is
prove
the first
evolution.
one.
It's okay, yeah, we got monkeys, we have humans. Where's the in between? There is none. Evolution's a lie. No, okay, I'm just kidding.
We need Lucy.
We're not going there.
So I think that the question nobody asked, okay, that everybody's been talking about this and what are the books in between, and that's all interesting stuff to me, and that's fine. We can all have our fun speculation time about what are the books in between.
Yeah, sure.
But here's my question. That was a printed, limited edition copy, right? Fully done, ready to go. That wasn't like something that was like a PDF from a playtester leak or something like that. That's not what it was. Okay? This was, because you like one of the photos is the person holding it.
Yeah, so it's done.
It's done.
A year ahead almost.
Boom. Now you got to the point I want to make. That's
Yeah.
exactly right. Okay, so that means the other 6 books
They're
are
done.
also theoretically done and printed and sitting in a warehouse. So we're 7 books out with what they printed. By the way, there's going to be an 8th book in there too, because we don't do solo book releases anymore.
Oh yeah.
So that Chaos book will have a friend, because every book obviously they do the box release now where it's like, you know, here's the box of the 2 forces fighting, and then here's the books for each of those 2 forces. Okay,
Yep,
fine.
Yep.
The FOMO boxes or whatever they're called. So what is the supply chain holdup? Because we could have been releasing books faster, right? So if the models are printed in the UK
Yep.
and the books are printed in the UK now, okay, which
And
they are,
And they're all done.
and they're all done, and they're sitting in a warehouse, and like theoretically the models are done or could be done if they wanted.
Sure.
What's the holdup? I have a theory.
Okay.
Cardboard.
Oh yes.
The boxes.
Yes.
Oh.
The physical boxes.
Because
that they're
my
put
guess
in.
is the boxes still come from somewhere else, like
Yeah.
China or something.
Yeah, they gotta still come from
Okay,
China.
because they got think about it. They're ordering those in mass, right,
Mm-hmm.
for all their product lines.
Yeah.
Those all got to get printed, put on a big container ship, shipped across. If somebody knows where those are printed for sure, by the way, tell me. I'm legit interested in where these boxes come from, because that's the only part of the supply chain that I can think of.
Yeah.
Right? Like they've got a bunch of sprues just sitting around and books just chilling in a warehouse, and they're like, well, we can't sell any of this because we don't have any box to put it in.
Dang, they need a
Whoever's
new
in
line.
charge of that is not doing their job. Everyone else is waiting on them.
Right.
That'd be so frustrating to not be able to like put product up because you couldn't get the boxes to put it in.
Right. Right. And that's got to be, think about how much that's holding up, because you don't know when you're going to get what shipment. Yeah, like the physical model kit boxes, Martin. Yes, that's what I'm talking about. Like
Yes.
the actual cardboard,
Yes.
right? Like when you go buy any of these things, the FOMO boxes, like the dual boxes, that's a big printed bit punch of cardboard with like a printout sheet in the middle and all that, right? Every individual little kit, every hero, all these things have to come in these boxes. They don't, none of them, only the book is standalone, right? It doesn't need a separate thing.
Yes.
But they can't release the book without also having the cardboard for the FOMO box, for the heroes they're going to do, for any new kits they're going to do, right? And so just missing that one piece would stop everything. It would shut down your whole release.
Yep.
So that's all I can think of, right? And I guess they're just hoping that by the time, basically the dates they set, like by autumn, those shipping containers show up and they're able to box stuff, right?
Yeah.
They're just like betting on it.
Dude, yeah, Adam said in the chat, welcome to the new global supply chain.
Yep.
Because I just finished a Kickstarter campaign, I've been getting lots of emails from people about like dealing with fulfillment.
Yep.
And like the most recent email I got was like, we have connections in China to subvert like all of those issues people have been seeing. So now it's like kind of like okay, the issue itself has created the need to pay for like better fulfillment to avoid the issue, and I was like, oh,
Right.
this is the new thing. So yeah, it's definitely a problem.
Yep. So that was the only thing that occurred in my head because, like, think about it. That means somewhere in that building
Yeah.
is just piles of sprues.
It's there.
And all the books just sitting on pallets or whatever.
Yeah,
Right? Just waiting.
we gotta find it.
The new mission has been set.
Yeah.
Everyone's got to wear Jinko jeans so we can hide them up in our jeans.
Right, exactly. We spread out all at once. The Oceans is like Oceans 14.
Right.
It's the new sequel. Okay.
You gotta like stuff me in some kind of a box, put me on a trolley, set me in a
your
room.
Suitcase. Bring your suitcase.
Oh yeah, put me in my suitcase.
Yeah.
There we go. We'll fold you up inside.
Yeah, and
I'll
just
just
set me in a
drop the
room.
case somewhere, just conspicuously.
I just
And you just
unzip it.
unzip from the inside.
Yeah, exactly.
Or you could like flatten it over and like walk. It's like a moving box, but you can't see what's inside.
Yeah, you're like Solid Snake.
yeah.
Just an exclamation point.
Yeah, exactly.
That'll
Okay.
work. That'll work.
Yeah. So,
Unfortunately, we put our whole plan on the internet right
uh-oh.
now.
Yeah.
Well,
Foiled.
now we're done. So, and by the way, no, I am not drinking just straight vodka out of a bottle. This is the sparkling water that they have here that I bought down from the bar. So
I bet that was
they
$48.
can verify. It wasn't that expensive, actually. It wasn't bad. It was cheaper than I thought it was going to be. But I got to drink something, so
Yeah.
there we go. All right, so there's a bunch of news in a slapdash random order, which is fine with me. That works. Like, let's do this. All right, so gentlemen, with that, let's get to some coolest models, shall
Let's
we?
do it.
Let's figure this out. I'd say I made the list before I reread Vince's text, and I thought it was coolest Warhammer models of all time. So I had a list of 25 models. And then I reread the text, and it was just Age of Sigmar. And I'm like, oh, that's cool, because 22 of the 25 were Age of Sigmar anyway. So we're fine. I can narrow this down.
Yes, I sent very clear instructions that both of you promptly disregarded.
Yes.
But that's all right. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to flip through these. Now, I do not have them labeled
Okay.
with which one of us picked them.
Gosh, how is this?
Okay. Well, no, that's
There's no labels?
it's intentional.
Oh, okay.
Because then it's a game, Scott, you see. Then it's fun and engaging for the audience.
Oh,
okay.
You get to
Alright.
choose. Who do you think picked it?
Correct.
Okay.
So when we jump to a model, okay, we're gonna give a second for it. Like I'm gonna flip to the first one right now. All right. Now some of these you may have a clue as to whose they are because of the picture that's been used.
Okay.
Just saying that because somebody sent me actual photos and I felt compelled to use them.
You didn't need to. I just didn't know if this guy had like a real name.
He probably does have a named name
He's like
somewhere.
one of 7
Fantasy.
Wood Elf lords,
Yeah, so this is obviously a Wood Elf Lord.
Yeah.
Now, this is
Well, hold on. Pop quiz here. Do you remember what they were originally called? So there's 2 of them. Every
Yep.
army had a hero variant and a lord variant. You remember what they were called for the Wood Elves?
Wow. Yeah, I mean everybody knows this is Scott, by the way. Well, so Scott, hold up your hand. Yes, exactly. There you
There's-
go. You have a very distinct wedding ring.
Yeah.
It shows up in a lot of your videos.
Yeah.
So, no, Wandering Prince, Nomad Prince, something like that.
That was like the last thing they had, but
Okay.
it was Highborn and Noble.
Okay,
Yeah.
there you go. So
Generic
was this
words.
the noble?
Yeah. I don't know. I think it could have been either. But I don't remember what it was on the actual blister when you bought it.
So I went and looked at these guys because you sent me some. Obviously, Scott has some old Hammer picks in here.
Oh, yeah.
Nobody went super back far in time. Like I wondered if anybody was going to send me like
An old like Nagash.
yeah,
Yeah.
like something from '91.
Yeah.
And what was really fun was I managed to find like the printout from the back of the book of all of the different Wood Elf lords and
Oh,
characters
yeah.
that were available.
Yeah.
And the thing about this one is these were all really good. Like I want to know who sculpted that whole range back when these were done, because like there's this guy, there's the sorceress who's up doing the
so cool. Yeah, with the floaty hair and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
there's like a bunch of different heroes from that time period that all came out together that are all like really solid. Honestly, I think you could have subbed in like any of those. They're
The
all good
Waywatcher Lord
models.
who's like doing like a fadeaway jumper.
Yes, the
Yeah.
fadeaway jumper
Yeah.
shooter.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, I love that one too.
Yeah, the Waywatcher Lord.
Yeah.
Like all of those are really, really good.
Mhm.
And I think these honestly, like, okay, here's our game. Does this model stand the test of time? My answer is 100% yes.
100%.
Yeah.
I wouldn't pick it if it didn't.
Yeah. I think the only thing, if they were to redo this today, is would be slightly more crisp and sharp in the details.
Sure,
the
like the cloak and stuff.
But the actual pose and the dynamic character, like that holds up 100%.
Yeah.
In fact, it's a lot more interesting than a lot of the models today. So
Yeah.
good pick. Good pick.
I'll say it's a little bit moody with the hair over one eye.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think what you would see today is like if let's imagine it, just somebody like plus is this, right?
Yeah,
Still
yeah.
they want to do homage, like they Eldarize it or Slaves to Darknessize it, right? Where it's the same models, we're just bringing them up to modern standards.
Yeah.
I think you would get much the same model. I think he'd be more up in the air,
Sure.
like they'd raise him up higher onto a
Yeah.
higher tactical rock. Okay. His hair would be up more,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
they can do
Separated,
strands that are
yeah.
separated now,
Yeah.
right? And I think his cloak would be less two-dimensional. Like it's got a lot of directionality to it right now, but it's still very two-dimensional because of
Yes.
the nature of the cast. Now it would be like going like
Yes.
and off to the side,
It wouldn't
more
need to be so
3D,
plainer.
right?
Yeah, I totally
Right.
get. Yeah, you're totally right.
Yes.
Because just some of the limitations of obviously the sculpting of that time, you couldn't just have like an individual strand of hair going whoop,
Right.
and like
yeah,
that.
that'd be a nightmare to cast for
Right.
sure. Yeah, it's a Peter model, so yeah, for
Yes.
sure.
Yeah, and I think this guy's still. I think this guy's still around. You can find him because they eventually made him fine cast. He's not the current model anymore. Now the only one they have still in this range that's like currently available is the plastic.
You said it earlier.
Nomad Prince. Yeah,
Yeah.
which by the way
That
is also a
his
good
name?
model. I think it is.
Yeah, yeah.
I
Yeah, me
used
too.
him. I actually used that model in an AOS Armada tournament recently because
Nice.
he's a good character. Like people sleep on that dude. He's really good.
Yeah,
If you also have that model in your top 5, I'm going to slap you.
I don't, but
Okay.
actually, fun little story. One of the first models I ever painted at John's house was the Nomad Prince. I brought it
right.
over and painted that. That was like 5 years ago or something
Yeah.
like that, or 4 years ago.
There you go.
Can't remember.
Yeah, that was awkward. Yeah, we did that.
Yeah.
Yep.
But so yeah, this guy's solid. I think this is a great pick. Like, and again, I think this could have been, like I said, any of those characters from that time,
Yeah,
and I
yeah.
would have still been in the same place.
Yeah.
Because I think it's one of the most iconic set of heroes that they've done for a range. Where I look at any one of the heroes and I'm like, banger, 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 right?
Yeah.
Like everyone was on point. It felt like that army. It had its own style and character and emotion. And there's, like, it's not that other armies don't have some good characters. It's rare they're that consistent.
Yeah.
Across the
5
line.
or 6 of them are so good.
Right.
For sure.
Right.
And they just killed them all.
Yep.
Don't worry, you don't have that long to wait.
What do you mean?
Well, like if we're gonna, the old world stuff will be in like 2024 or something, and you'll get your
And Wood Elves are definitely
you'll
coming
get your
back.
wood elves back in that. Yeah, because they've already talked about wood elves in the forest and all of that.
Baby.
In 10mm glory.
Oh. Wait, so is this the scale isn't confirmed? The bases are.
The
but is
base
the
are
scale?
square. I assume they'll do. They're not stupid. They'll
So-
do like 28 mil.
Are you gonna play this?
I don't know, man. Depends on whether or not I like the game.
Okay.
I am not a person that has any nostalgia for anything.
Right. Okay.
Okay. I like things if they're good. I don't like things if they're bad. It's that easy. So sure, if the game's good, I'll play it. You know what I
Okay.
mean? So it's that simple. I will definitely buy a bunch of
Yes,
models and
yes.
use them as AOS pieces.
Yes.
So that's a guaranteed. Like they've got my money for a bunch of this stuff.
Yeah.
It's just what game does it get used in?
Right.
That's why Underworlds exists, right?
Right, exactly. Yeah, do you know how many Underworld warbands I have? That like I've played like 6 games of Underworld since its launch, and I haven't played one in the past 3 years, but I'm still buying warbands. so you know.
dude.
You could make your entire list of top 5 for this all off of individuals of Underworld's warbands, and you could be right. Because
Yes.
they're that good.
Yes.
100%.
Yep.
Okay,
Okay, what do we got here?
next up. All right, guesses in chat. Who is this one? Who picked Jelson Derrock? All right, so look.
That's the face I see whenever I look at that model.
Okay, now that you say that, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
We got a split between Vince and John, it looks like here.
Okay.
Yes.
So. Vince,
Oh,
update your
look.
Chrome, man. You're on red right now.
That's fine. Whatever. Don't worry about it. The stream dropped for a second, but it's okay. Don't
Okay.
worry. It's all good. Everything will still show up there.
Yeah.
We should be back. I can watch. I'm watching it over here on
Tom.
my phone.
Lord V says Tom.
Nice.
Tom picked this.
All right. So the answer is this was your pick, John.
This is
Yeah,
mine.
okay,
This is
okay.
mine.
Okay. Why this one as opposed
There's so many good
to
models in
the
this
other
box.
witch?
And I-
Yeah. Anything else in Curse City?
Yeah.
Yes, actually, I went through and I'm like, the Curse City was just nonstop hits.
Yeah.
That I was like, something out of this box has to do it. Has to be the one.
Mm-hmm.
And as much as I want it to be the big boss vampire, this guy just beats him.
He does. Yeah.
He's
yeah.
just cooler.
Yeah.
He's definitely better than Radikar from there. No
Yes,
doubt.
he
No
is.
doubt.
Yes.
Yes, he is. And a spoiler, Chadakar does not make my top 5 list, although he was in the extended list. He didn't quite make it. But Jelson here, like, I found that my list of 5 hit like a lot of pillars of fantasy that I want to see represented in the coolest way.
Okay.
And he is my version of like an anti-hero. Like, he is a good guy, but he just looks like a complete badass.
He's not a good guy.
Well, he's kind of a good guy.
Oh, is this like a space marine? He's not a good guy.
No. He's like legit not a good guy. I don't know how much you want me to spoil Curse City, but actually he's not.
Oh, like in the story for the game, he's
Yeah,
not.
yeah.
Okay, don't spoil it. I want to play it at some point.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'll let you discover.
Okay.
And I would. That makes me like him even more.
Yeah, sure.
So I mean, like,
He's
what,
Batman.
like a religious zealot. Yeah.
Right.
Would you play an army of witch hunters?
100%. We're looking at Mordheim. That's one. That's
Oh
in
yeah,
my
maybe.
final list.
Oh,
Can I ask a question? How has that not become a thing?
I don't know.
I guess it doesn't make sense because like typically like a town will have a witch hunter, so to have an
But-
army of them.
But we don't need an army of witch hunters.
Oh yeah.
we
like
need an Inquisition style army in AOS.
Yeah,
Like that could have been Cities 2. It could be their version of like the new Dawnbringer Crusades.
Yeah.
Like you would have some witch hunters. You would have new versions of Priests of Sigmar. You would have like some traders and just people like that, like sort of diplomats and people who go out and help settle things. You'd have flagellants, like new versions of the
zealots,
flagellants.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I could construct you a reasonable army here if
Yes.
you give me a day or two,
You know,
right?
if we go searching for sprues, maybe we'll find
There
it.
you go.
Right?
It's just amazing to me that we haven't capitalized on something that people so clearly love and that we were hinting at
Yes.
here with Curse City.
I mean, squats took forever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, just the aesthetic of everything on him just feels like a badass witch hunter. And like, his pose isn't super dynamic, but it has a lot of like attitude in it. The whole rifle over the shoulder, like a Clint Eastwood pose, is iconic.
Yeah.
He's got garbles on garbles, which I think is a little bit of a negative, but
This angle in particular makes it look egregious, but other parts of the model aren't too bad.
yeah.
Because I painted this one. Have you painted this one, Vince?
I have you.
Yeah. Yeah. The front look is bad, but like other areas, not too bad.
Yeah, my only problem with him is that face.
Oh,
and
gosh.
actually get, like, the way you put the model together.
Yeah.
You can't paint it.
basically have to assemble him completely for the most
Yeah.
part.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because he's one of those, like, wackadoo, half of the torso and a
Yes.
shoulder and the side of a face and the corner of a hat.
Yeah.
You know?
And you have like a 2mm gap to like fit a brush to paint his face.
Yes,
it's
exactly.
impossible.
And so that's my only issue with him. I think of all the new witch hunters, I think I actually like the dad the best.
Okay.
Just because he's also got a pretty open pose.
He does.
He's got kind of like, his jacket's doing some nice stuff where it's kind of like folded over, but it's also floating behind. And he's got a real expressive old guy face.
Yeah.
And like old guy faces are fun to paint.
Yeah.
I wonder
Right.
what this model would look like with old guy head on instead. I wonder if it's better.
Ooh.
That'd be cool. That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, this is a good pick. I mean, and again, this is another of those things where I'm glad to see Curse City coming back. And one strength, one stam, leather belt, time sword.
Nice.
They don't have the unique trait. You
Nope.
can just keep on
Just keep
slapping
stacking
them
them.
on.
He's just strapping those leather belts around arms and stuff. Yeah.
I did have to ask Vince if this model could count, because technically you can't use the heroes in Age of Sigmar, right?
You can.
Can't?
Oh, you
surely,
can?
Surely
Yeah,
you
they
can.
have more scrolls.
I know you could use all the bad guys. I never checked that, but
None of them are any good.
okay, maybe that's why it never registered for me.
Yeah, they're the only one that like maybe sometimes could on one weird blue moon have a use is the dual-handed sword lady.
Oh, okay.
Esmer.
Great model
whatever her
there,
name is.
too.
Also good. Yeah, I mean, like, this whole thing is good. All right, what is your pick out of Curse City? Is this your pick, Scott, out of Curse City?
No, no.
Glorio Van Elton III?
If it's not a Wood Elf, it's Glorio.
Oh, yeah,
If
that's
it's not
true.
a good guy, it's the Watchmaster skeleton guy.
Yes.
Yeah,
he
he is
almost
super
made my
cool.
list, too.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
he's probably my favorite skeleton.
Yeah.
Model.
I love Glorio because he's like a non-vampire vampire. He has such excellent drip.
Right.
But yeah, he's not actually undead. But yeah, I love Glorio.
Nice. May I submit just the humble skeleton out of this box set?
You may.
Think of how many times you've seen that skeleton used in like painting tutorials.
Oh, yeah.
Or
Oh,
just
yeah.
painted in general because they're simple, but they're not too simple. They have a great amount of detail. They have those shields on either the front or the back, so you can kind of pick what you want to do. You know, they like you have all the stuff you'd want. Like, oh, I want to do some non-metallic metal. Cool, I'll play with the breastplate and
Yes.
the top of the shield and the helm.
Yeah.
Some have scales, some don't.
Yes.
Like, I really think those skeletons are amazing.
Yeah.
They take contrast really well, too.
This is true. Yeah, you can go simple, you can go super high end, and they pay off either way.
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing for me why those skeletons are such a hit, it's the first time that I recall the Games Workshop has put a lot of focus in how the human hips work. There's
Sure.
so much movement, and there's
Yes.
so many minor changes in poses, and it's
Yeah.
all on the direction of their hips and how that changes the weight. And it shifts which leg, it shifts front or back. It's beautiful, but you don't really notice it unless you like say, what is it that makes these different? And it's all in the hips, baby.
They look a little sassy.
They are a little sassy.
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah. So, I mean, like, the point is, it's a great box, and
It
I
is.
think you could have
my
again
God.
picked
Yeah.
multiple things out of it, but this is a good pick,
Yeah.
and I hope to see more stuff like this.
Wait, so is your pick from Curse City the skeleton?
I think I'm submitting the skeleton.
All
That's
right.
my hot pick.
Bold claim.
Yes, I'm gonna say the skeleton because of like there is something to be said for something simple done extremely well,
I totally agree. Yeah.
right? And that's what that skeleton represents to me.
Okay. Well, that's an interesting concept. Like, what's a GW model that's simple and done really well? That's a different show, maybe, but that's a really cool question.
No, it is. It is. I don't know. I think we might have some of those coming up. All right.
Okay.
We might have some.
All right. This one probably requires not much guess as to whose this is.
Wow, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know who did that.
Yes.
Keeper of Secrets.
Tough guess. Who put this one in there? Look, all time great.
Yeah.
The original Keeper of Secrets, the previous incarnation, it wasn't actually the original one, there was one before that, but the ugly, awful, dumb metal one that existed, the like bullhead, crab claw, tiny, short, awful thing that was just terrible.
Yeah.
Just straight terrible. Okay. It existed with us for way too long.
Yes.
And then this magnificent thing came out. And look, as a proof point, none of the models you picked got into the top 3 for model of the year. This one did.
Oh,
Yeah,
if there's any kind of metric,
It's a
Space Marine show.
I understand. It's all like 40K crushes on that. I get it.
Yeah.
But that's my point. If an AOS model got in there, I understand this is also 40K viable.
Oh, okay, sure.
But like,
sure.
think of how good it has to be to
Yeah.
actually get
Right.
into the top
Oh,
3.
yeah, that's fair.
It's got to be big too. That's the
Right.
key. You got the key word big in this one.
Yes.
I'm surprised one of mine. If it's kind of got robbed, I'll say. We'll worry about that when we get there. But
That's fine.
I had Marathia in my top 10, and I think she would have hit
man.
that bill.
Oh man!
Don't worry, you might not have missed out.
Okay.
There's
Okay.
so many models I forgot about,
Yeah.
like the sea elf dude with like the wave cape.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, he was in my short list
Oh
too.
my
I love
gosh,
that
that
guy.
model-
We'll
amazing.
we'll talk about some more. When we get to the end. We'll talk about our honorable mentions.
Okay.
So
All right.
I knew you were going to pick this,
Of
and
course.
you've how many of these have you painted now?
He has to think
I'm
about
gonna
it.
say 6, but it might be 7. It might be 7.
I was like, just remembering from your cases in your house. I'm like, okay, I think I saw 4. Oh right, he just did one for Golden Demon. 5. So I'm like, yeah, you know this probably as well as anybody on this planet. This model.
Yeah.
I'm assuming the kit has a lot of good variety too in terms of assembly to make it kind of interesting to do repeat paint jobs.
Yeah, no, it does. Like, there's different. It's not just that. It's okay. For how big this model is, it's actually quite simple. Like, what I mean by that is there's a lot of negative space on this model.
Yeah, it looks like it, honestly.
The back of the cloak is basically one big cloak. I mean, like, it has a little bit of design to it, but for the most part, it's just a big swoopy, softly swooping cloak, right? The skin, there's a lot of exposed skin. You've got these little,
Danglers.
these little doodad crossies for her like corset or whatever, but it's not much. Her claws are huge, but then they have those simple metal things. There's a couple different claw options in there. Like, as compared to most models of this size, she doesn't have a huge amount going on, so it allows for a lot of experimentation on the model, and so you can really like play with the volumes and tattoos, and I've seen lots of people do all sorts of different things with that because they've got so much space to play with there.
Yeah.
Right.
Often a critique of GW models is you don't have enough space to really do anything other than paint the details they put on the model. So
Right.
this is a cool departure.
And it's just, this design, I'll also say there's like 3 different heads in there, and each head very much changes the feel of the model. Because one is very feminine, one is a little more demon, and one is like a bull.
Yeah. The one we see on the screen is kind of bullhead.
Yeah.
So you get like a really, really different feel out of the model based on the head. They also have very different hairstyles for all of them too. So
I think one of the things that makes this one stand out to me is Slaanesh aesthetic isn't my cup of tea. But even if you don't like the Slaanesh aesthetic, which it feels is kind of a hot and cold for most people, you still can appreciate how cool the model is.
Yeah.
yes.
Because that's a hard thing. Because if you just don't like this aesthetic, this thing is still really cool. So when I saw this first get shown, I was like, oh gosh, Vince, oh no.
Spells do.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't have been more excited for this. I still love this model. I'd still paint another one anytime. Like, absolutely. Number 7 or 8 or 10 or 12, who knows? There's no end.
It's a lot of secrets to keep.
There is so many secrets. All right. I think we know who did this one.
Yeah, I think this is a very similar shot.
Okay, so this is a controversial pick. Here, I think this is like the deepest Old Hammer pick, probably.
Really?
I think so. We'll see.
Okay.
All right. Obviously, this one's Scott.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dude, come on. Conrad, he's the craziest of the
Defend
Von
yourself.
Carsons.
Please do.
Dude, I mean, okay, wait. What? So, do I have to? Why don't you like this model? What's wrong with it?
That doesn't convince me why it's the best if I have to tell you why it's not.
Okay.
You have to convince me why it is.
Okay, fine. Bat cape.
Okay.
Mic drop. Like, come on, dude. Seriously?
Bat
But
cape.
also the blood dripping down from the middle of the swords. How that blood got there, I don't know. There's no blood anywhere else. But like, I just okay.
So, you've seen the Revenge of the Sith.
Oh yeah. Right into
Scissors.
this
Right? Just
photo.
yeah.
I mean, I love it because I love the story of the Von Carsons. Like this sculpt perfectly encapsulates how crazy Conrad is. He's just like in the midst of battle, presumably, just like chugging down blood on his blades. He's a crazy vampire, and his model is crazy looking. And so yeah, I love it.
Okay.
Fully armored vampire, looks cool. Yeah.
I'm hearing a lot of nostalgia, Vince.
Yeah, but like, is that not legit stuff?
It counts.
This is mine.
This
Top
is
five.
your coolest. I get it. Look, I will
You
say.
guys both don't like this model?
Nope.
No.
Oh no!
And I love vampires.
What the fuck? Oh no!
Yeah, like I would say. So I obviously we have the new Vampire Lord on foot, right? The new one that got made, Bad Hair Lady.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you like black.
And I
black
don't
cloaks.
like Bad Hair Lady. Is
I don't
my
either.
honest answer.
Yeah, I don't like
Okay.
that.
She's like 65% awesome. It's the other 35 that just kill it.
Yeah.
So
But my problem with all of the Von Karstein sculpts is honestly they just are so chonky in a weird way. Like, yeah, I get it. He's got a bat cloak. It feels like if I'm not looking at the model and I was forced to just remember it, I would remember it cooler than it actually is.
Okay, yeah, that's fair.
Right? Where
That's
I'd
fair.
be like, yeah, it had that awesome bat cloak, and he's like, like drinking the blood off his sword, right? You know? But then I look at them and I'm like, oh, that's right. It looks like that.
Okay, so question for you then: if this model got an AOS like makeover, and the concept was the same, would it be awesome? Is the issue just like maybe the old design aesthetic, or
Yes.
is it just the concept?
For me.
Yes.
For me, yes.
Okay.
But I think you could absolutely. You know why I know you could do this and make it awesome? Because Kritza exists.
What is Kritza?
Kritza is the vampire who's like all stately and walking forward, but he's got his rat tails coming out behind him.
Yeah.
He's the rat vampire,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And I mean, not exactly the same concept because obviously this guy's bats and stuff like that, and that dude's the rat prince.
Yeah.
But I mean, that whole you can see what that aesthetic looks like when it's brought to modern design capabilities, right? So you could certainly do this in a way that like would be compelling to me.
Right.
My honest answer is just because of like the scale and the chonk and the fatness of some of these things that were just the realities of the time of what you could sculpt and what you could do, because you were sculpting in real green stuff and sculpting technology and sculpting skill was kind of, it is of its time.
Yeah.
Right. So that's the issue.
The other thing about this guy that always irks me whenever I see him is how his the ratio of his body size is so off. Like his torso is the same height as his legs, and that should be about a 2-to-1 ratio.
I don't think it is.
And he seems, and it might be because his knees are bent. You can't really tell because of the bats, but he just seems so squat.
Yeah.
It's like I want him more like tall and lithe and just that has more powerful pose. But
Yeah.
I will say he is a better sculpt than Vlad.
Yes. I think of all of the Von Carsons, this sculpt and this concept best shows the character of what he's supposed to be in the story.
Sure.
They're actually kind of just like generic vampires.
Yeah.
Because Manfred's supposed to be like beguiling, Vlad's supposed to be like the king, he's crazy, Isabella's kind of like, I don't know, she's got her own thing going on. But this guy's like, yeah, that's best 1-to-1.
Sure.
okay.
I got that. All right, but it's a good pick at sort of this whole at this whole time period of models. Like I do think it is one of the better ones from that time. Just for me, it doesn't hold up still.
Sure, yeah.
That's the issue. But I get it.
Yeah.
Hey Trav, how you doing?
Oh, there he is. Trevelyan's in the house.
What up?
Hey Trav, we didn't see any cockroaches in our hotel room yet.
Ask why they hate me. Okay, we'll do that. Why do you hate Trevelyan?
Yes, we will ask. We'll get right into it. Hey.
We'll get it on camera too.
Yeah, we'll record it as well. Yeah.
Absolutely. All right.
Who has the Mega Boss?
Okay. So again, guesses in the chat who the Mega Boss is. But look, Mega Bosses are meant to be beefy, armored, larger, like monstrous orcs, right?
Yeah.
That's what this dude is.
Yeah.
He's the biggest and the bestest.
And I like this guy on foot. And yes, there you go. Vince, this is my pick. Yes, I saw many Vinces in the chat. I like this guy more than the one on Mock Russia because I think this is just a singularly well executed sculpt. He's big, he's imposing, he's brutal. I love the armor. Think of how many times you've seen this guy painted for competition from just
David
lot.
Soper.
Yep, exactly. And like I do not know, I can't think of any way to improve this sculpt. That's what it comes down to, right? He is the thing perfect.
Yeah.
Do you
Period.
think the jaw teeth thing could be a little bit shorter so you could see his face a little bit better?
It's a fair question. Okay, that's fair.
Maybe
I
his
mean,
skull on his shoulder could be a little bit smaller. It seems a little comically large.
The dinosaur skull is perfect. I love it. It's the other one on the other shoulder. I
yeah,
don't
my
like.
solution on one of mine was to actually get a second one of those skulls and put it on his other shoulder too. So he's got two of them. And then I was like, okay, now he's balanced. But that's like my own need for symmetry. Like I like symmetry in things, right? And yeah, I mean, like, look at the size of his choppa.
Yeah.
Look at that thing.
Yeah.
That is the size of a normal human person.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
It's adequately sized.
Yes. So I mean, maybe the only thing I would like. So some of the like what do I want to say? The other brutes. There we go. Sorry, the word not coming to my head. Have and some of the pig riders have a little spot on their back of their armor. You could put a little
Flaggy?
ponytail or flag or banner into or stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah.
And one of mine I converted to have like a battle banner over his head the same way. And I honestly think it does do a lot for the sculpt. There's my one way I could improve this, I guess.
I can see that because he has like a really low center of gravity. He's like just all kind of in one area.
Yes.
I get that. Okay.
So I would love to see it if they had like some other way you could, like an optional back plate where you could sit a banner in his back. Okay. Especially since that's actually one of their artifacts that's always been around, like the boss skewer pole.
Right.
It's meant to be this big trophy rack that goes up behind them.
And 40K too. Yeah. They all had it,
yeah. And it is a thing on the guy that's on the Maw Crusher. Like he has that option.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, but the guy on foot, they don't give that armor option. So I wish they had done the same thing for both.
Yeah,
that's it.
The guy on Maw Crusher is actually physically larger than this guy too.
He
right?
is, yeah.
Because I think you painted that when we did our little like collab diorama thing, right?
Correct. I pulled the one off the Maw Crusher and did that one. Yeah.
You
you
realize how big that model is when you take him off the cabbage. You're like, oh my god, he's huge.
Yeah.
Because we were using 2x2-inch plinths.
Yeah.
And he was Mr. Wide Stance over here.
Yeah.
Surfboard.
He's he's surfboarding. Yeah.
Yeah. I had to like extend my foot over into the knoblar zone.
You can have some of that. They're not using it.
Right.
Good pick.
A trophy rack.
Yeah, exactly. So I think this is just a good model. This is another guy. I think I've done 3 of these dudes, not counting the ones on Maw Crusher, and so I just really like them.
Yeah.
Dang.
All right, whose is this one? Guesses in chat.
This trash model.
Oh well, not Scott.
Or he's trying to throw you all off.
Ah,
it is an elf after all.
It is an elf.
Or is it? If you take all the elf ways, it's still an elf.
Oh no, he's a ghost elf.
So this is sort of a ship of Odysseus problem here. Yeah.
Is Anakin still no? Okay.
Right. So this is John's.
This is
yes.
me.
Yes.
This is me.
All right, John.
Why? This is the best hero good guy in Age of Sigmar.
Wow.
Yes.
What a claim.
Yes.
Okay.
Because this guy just screams
Denied, by the way.
pure and like amazing pose. Everything about him is amazing good guy. In an ideal world, there's actually a dude under there.
yeah, exactly.
And not a ghost. That's a small thing, right? Right. He's the master of the tactical rock. He's like dual rocks to go with with dual swords. Just the sweeping cloak. The armor is beautiful because it's not overly designed, but there is the elegant filigree across the whole thing.
Yeah.
Like he's not chonky. Like so much of good guys for Warhammer, whether it's Space Marines or whether it's Sigmarines or whatever, their dimensions are way too fat, and he just feels like more adequately proportioned. So I love him. I just love him. Now, granted, the helmet you could debate, but
no, I actually like the helm a lot.
Yeah,
I think
like
it does.
it too.
I think it's doing a huge amount by having those pieces on the
Yes.
side.
I think of Lumineth Realm Lords, that helmet is probably the least ridiculous.
Yes,
one
it
in the
is.
range,
It is.
which actually goes a long way in making this look not ridiculous. But yeah, the fact that it's missing a guy, it just kind of feels like it's half of a model in a way.
it was wild as this model was like spoiled for like a month before I ever realized there was no guy in it. Because everything I saw, like, I love this. I didn't even notice that because everything else is so well done. I agree with you. It's weird, but
All right.
I just like him. He does the good guy thing the bestest.
Okay.
So I think it's super sweet there's not an elf inside. And this is literally them rekindling what was left of Eltharian's spirit. He had a very interesting death in the end times.
Yeah.
And so it was actually nice to see, because the easy way to go for all of these old characters is to not advance their story, is to just be like, yep, they're back now. Why?
Yeah.
Because timey-wimey magic. It's
Yeah,
all
they
wild.
found a space dragon and took it to the promised land.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's the easy way to go, and it's fine. Like I get it I get it for people like, why is Archon the Black still alive? Well, Archon the Black is still alive because and looks and acts the same because his spirit is intertwined with Nagash, and so as long as Nagash exists, Archon exists, right? Like, so cool, I'm in for that. He showed up and looked the same because Nagash is unchanging, so Archon's unchanging, right?
Yeah.
But by the way, this guy also just absolutely housed Archon the Black. Speaking of that, like took Archon to the Cleaner's son. Yeah, like drug him along the end of the realm until he disintegrated.
Like this version of Eltharion?
This version of Eltharion,
Oh,
like
man.
grabbed him as revenge and like literally took him to the edge of the realm and just went like against the like, you know that scene in Avengers when he puts the rocket hand on the big guy with the hammer and shoots him up and he goes off the Wakandan barrier until he just explodes.
Yeah.
He did that to him.
Okay.
Oof.
Anyways,
So we know the fate of Teclis. What's the deal with Tyrion in Age of Sigmar? Do you know what's going on with him?
he's over there ruling, like he's blind. We have no, like he's been mentioned in a couple of stories.
Trying to find the crosswalk.
Well, I mean, he's a god, so he's not like, it's not that big of a deal for him to be physically blind.
He's like Daredevil.
Yeah,
now.
they're all four gods now. All four of the classic elven people who are in charge of their two respective realms are all gods.
Is he rocking
Tyrion
the
has his own forces. He has his own half of Haish. We just haven't seen his personal forces other than his representative, like the special character guy on the weird antelope mount.
Yeah.
That's his like personal left hand.
But that's going to be the LRL book.
So
There it is. Yeah, there it is.
I wouldn't get your hopes up. We'll do the rest of Teclis first.
Sure.
You got to save something for 2023.
Right. Or
Like
halfway
one
in
LRL book
between
a year.
is it released the second half of that book through the second time.
Yes. And so, at any rate, I like that there's nothing in here. Like, it's a cool take.
Yeah.
Because they could have just brought back another elf guy.
Yeah.
But they didn't. And it's like a wonderful... You want to talk about, like, showing the capabilities of modern sculpting technology?
Yeah.
Like, this thing
This
is wild.
This is engineering.
Yeah.
Like there's no way about it. Like if you have to take a minute to figure out how it all fits together,
Yeah.
and until you hold it in your hand, it can be hard to figure out.
Yeah.
So I just think it's awesome that they could pull that off.
Yes.
I can imagine like kind of getting bored of doing the same thing over and over again. So this is kind of like a fun departure from just
Right.
normal elf dude.
Yeah, it kind of shows like it also helps expand the world of like what's possible in that range. Like, oh hey, Teclis is such a master of magic that he can do this.
Yeah.
Right? So it's telling its own story just by its very existence, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. But yeah, he's good. It's cool stuff. I think he's the best one in the LRL range.
I think so too. I looked through the entire range and I was like, gosh, he just stood out.
Okay.
And there's some of the best new, good guy models, best new order models.
Yeah, sure. Now, you had made a claim that he's like the best foot hero type thing
There's
in
all good
AOS.
guys.
Are you gonna say?
Did you say just good guys?
I
Yeah.
said good guys.
Oh, okay. Well, then I might not have a pushback.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe you were gonna pick Iron Man Stormcast, but
I mean,
Iron
Bastion
Man Post.
Carthalos is
He's
pretty
pretty
great, and so is Guard of Steel. So yes, the guy you're talking about there, but
it's not fair when they get like as many single foot heroes as the rest
Sure.
of the
Hey,
entire
man, you made
game.
the claim.
I didn't hear the good part, so
Good
I was going to
guys.
go to Sigvald
Oh, okay.
because obviously Sigvald's better than this guy.
Yes.
But-
okay, so that's
But you
probably
said
a
good
spoiler.
guy, so
Order.
objection,
Order.
objection,
Sustained.
yeah, objection sustained. Yeah, exactly. Okay.
Oh, you get
Back
back to
car.
back.
So it's not Rad-Dukar, it's Rad-Duckar?
I don't know. That's what I typed.
Oh, okay. I don't know. Yeah.
who
I
picked
may have
this?
mistyped it.
Okay.
Who picked this?
Who is the pick of this one? You could probably pretty easily figure it out, but I don't know. Let's
all like
we'll give a second.
vampires.
Exactly. Yeah. Everybody.
Yeah, this-
Everybody sitting here likes vampires.
Everybody could have picked this.
Yeah.
All right, but yeah, I mean, this one is me, and dude, this guy's awesome. I don't know
He's
what else to
awesome.
say
The
about
little
him.
pygmy vampire down there is
Yes.
like, Daddy,
Yes.
can I have a morsel?
Like, I painted this dude. I love this dude. He is part of my accidental Soulblight Gravelord's army that keeps happening.
Yeah, that's probably more painted than mine.
Well, I mean, he's done, so.
Oh,
Oh, you mean of the army?
Yeah.
Also,
yeah.
he's done. Squeeze more paint.
No, I think you still have more army than me. For now.
For now.
For now. look, this dude is bestial. When you're named the Beast,
Yes.
okay, and this guy was just an absolute pleasure to paint. Like, what a fun model. He has details on him, but none of it was annoying. He still has a lot of actual open space. Like, the cloak is most of his back. He's got kind of like the layered cloak situation. His legs are very clear down to like his bestial feet. Now I will say I did not put the little
Yes.
dipwads on my face.
I wouldn't either.
What? Dude,
Okay.
why not? That's part of the comic relief.
They're cute, but I was like, nah, I want Radikar stands
Yes.
alone. He doesn't need
Yes.
anybody else,
Yeah.
right? Like, I just want this dude out there looking ready.
Yeah.
And so this model really struck me. And it's so funny how much better this version is than Radikar the Wolf out of Curse City.
I know.
Who I think is one of the weakest sculpts in the box.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I kind of wrote this model off just because of how disappointing that model was. Like,
Right.
it was such a cool idea to have like a different, like an ogre vampire. Like we've only ever seen humanoid vampires, but then it was kind of so sad. So I
He
never
doesn't
looked
even
this
feel
model.
like an ogre.
Yeah.
Either.
But this looks awesome.
And he's big too. I mean,
He is
he's not like beyond huge. He's not, greater demon sized or something. But he is bestial. Like, he is a big guy.
Yeah.
Honestly, he's a 54 millimeter miniature.
Yeah.
That's what he is.
But he fits in single figure.
But he fits. Yes, he does.
Oh.
Yes, he does. So he's scaled. It's basically just a scaled up 54 millimeter humanoid, right? And that makes him so much more pleasurable to paint, honestly.
Yeah.
As the answer, like, his facial details are bigger, his musculature and volumes are more defined. Everything on this guy is just good. So yeah, I dig Radikar. I think he very much is just like perfectly captures what he's meant to be about.
Yeah.
Right? Because this is sort of the final form of the villain, right? It's the
Yes.
classic, like, you kill the villain, then he
Phase
comes back
one.
and he's like, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
This isn't even my final form, right? And this dude is such a glow up over that.
Yeah,
like,
he
he
is.
feels like a final form second boss type of situation.
I think this is going to be one of the models that once I paint it, my opinion of it will only go up. Because I haven't painted mine yet, I don't think I've appreciated how cool he is. I'm a little nervous to try to do NMM on all that little filigree-based gobbledygook.
Honestly, not as bad as you think. Because my whole SBG army's in NMM, and it's not as bad as you think. It's because, here's the trick. It's not filigreed gobbledygook. I know exactly what you mean. The worst thing to navigate NMM on, maybe, I don't know if, Scott, you feel the same,
I do.
is on, like, a single piece that has all sorts of weird filigreed things going in and out in different layers, and some's this little tiny detail and etched things. But that's not what this is. These are just bands. Okay? Every
On his
piece
shoulder.
is a band. Same on his chest. It's all just bands. And they have logical breakpoints. So
Yeah.
it's a flat plane that comes to a breakpoint, and then a flat plane that comes
that's
to a
not hard.
breakpoint. And you have all these wonderful crisp edges on the band, so you can create like a nice flexion line down the middle of the NMM, but you can still get your crisp edges in there. You can have a sharp, like they make sharp turns. You understand what I'm saying? Like on the armor.
They're also overlapping as well. Like when filigree is like on a cloak, impossible.
Right.
Because like you can almost visualize that shoulder as one hunk of metal, and then just recess shade a ton when you're done with it. And that's good.
Yes. So honestly, it's a pleasure to do the NMM on this because it for the same reason doing NMM on swords is
Yes.
fun, right? Because you just got like flat planes you're working with and you can play with the reflections. That's what is actually going on here with this guy's armor.
So did this guy, what's your theory on if this was supposed to be an expansion for Curse City that just kind of became an AOS release?
Man, I don't know. I don't even... It feels like it came out too fast for them to have changed everything. But at the same time, it also feels like, how could it not have been?
Right.
Yeah.
Right?
It seems like an upgraded boss for Curse City, but yeah, they changed the whole packaging and everything. I see what you're saying.
You could have easily had the expansion box that is more bad guys. It includes Belladonna Volga. It includes him.
Yeah.
And it includes
Rat Boy.
something
Yeah, like
else.
Kritza and Yanka. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, in the end, I'm happy we got them.
Yes.
They
Yeah.
didn't hold them back because
Oh, for
I
sure,
think
yeah.
all of them are good sculpts. I mean, Grandma Vampire is awesome on her wolf.
Oh, yeah.
All 4 of those are good. But what excites me is they've said, okay, hey, Curse City's relaunching this year, and we have more expansions planned. So clearly that wasn't their whole thing,
Right.
which I actually think you'll see expansions beyond just Dead stuff, beyond Soulblight.
Oh.
I think we'll see other heroes, other forces coming in. Imagine Chaos gets in there and wants a piece of it. Maybe we get a cool Chaos excursion band or something like that, right? So they could do other fun stuff. In the same way, when you think of Blackstone Fortress, which is clearly the template here,
Yeah.
it's not like everything for Blackstone Fortress was just the monsters of Blackstone Fortress. Yes, some of them were. But we also got additional heroes and things like that who were going into Blackstone.
Yes, please. I will take more delicious heroes.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially if we get to explore those unique corners of AOS. Again, like with Blackstone, where we got the what was it? He's like the Man of Metal or whatever. The actual AI dude who's like
Yes.
walking around.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh yeah, it's just me. I'm an AdMech robot. Beep, boop, beep. I am not self-aware. You know that dude?
Yep.
Yes.
Man of Iron or whatever they're called.
Yeah.
That's such a cool concept. It's just always been there in the lore, and now finally we got a neat figure for it. This dude
Yeah.
just hiding out for 20,000 years or however old he is, right?
Or a normal wood elf without
Sure.
hooves for feet. You know? Very
Okay.
appreciative of that, GW.
You,
Thank you.
You can wish in one hand and poop in the other and see which one fills up first, Scott.
I'll poop in your hand. How about that?
I'm shocked we didn't see one of these painted at Golden Demon.
It is kind of surprising.
There wasn't a single one.
Maybe because of the little dudes on there.
Yeah, it's a lot of work for single figure.
Well, because of the little dudes, I think that would disqualify him from single figure. Or maybe people would feel like it wasn't, because you're not supposed to have other figures
Yeah.
on the base.
Could you do
So you-
Belladonna?
And so if you just did him, then the question is, are they going to like mark you down because you didn't include the little dudes?
no.
Is he the Golden Demon Catch 22?
Yes. Yes.
I don't think so. I don't
You
think
can't
so.
win.
That being said, you could easily imagine a whole diorama happening around him, or somebody using him in a diorama or something.
That would be
yeah.
pretty hot.
Like that's a slam dunk. All right. The Ogre Tyrant.
Who picked the Ogre Tyrant?
Who picked the Ogre Tyrants?
Who, indeed, who selected this one? This is obviously a newer sculpt. Like this is the newest Ogre, is what I mean.
Yeah.
Yes.
Came out as the hero in the FOMO box when they came out. So guesses in chat who picked this one. We'll give him another moment here.
It's hard to say. It's not being held by a hand with a distinct wedding ring, so I don't know.
Yeah.
Could have been anybody.
Yeah.
Could have been anybody.
It's that came out in the box with OBR in it, right? And they both
Yep.
got new heroes, and this is one of the new heroes.
Correct.
I forget what that box is called, like Flesh Tide or Bone Tide or something.
Feast
like
of
that.
Bones.
Feast of Bones.
There you
That's
go.
what it
Yeah, they
was.
all have goofball names. All right, let's reveal it. Who picked this one?
I did.
That's right. This was Scott. I knew
Okay.
this one would throw a curveball, people.
Yeah, so
Yes.
I have a long-term under the sheets loving relationship with a couple of races in fantasy. One of them is Skaven.
Okay.
One of them is ogres.
Yep.
I love a lot of things about them, and it kind of gets the foot in the door. One of those things is the fact that they dip their hands in blood before
Sure.
they go to do war. That's just so cool.
Yep.
This guy has a lovely open pose. He has
Yes.
that big belly plate, that big helmet, the big, what do you call it, a glaive or something like that, a spear,
Sure.
an ogre spear. Lots of nice flat surfaces, and he just is like the perfect ogre model.
He's also sizable. Like he
Yes,
feels
yes.
bigger than the normal ogres
Yeah,
too.
and that's
Same reason
true
we talked about the
ogres,
Mega Boss.
right?
Yes.
Yeah, so
yeah,
like
yeah.
that entire army just seems appealing to paint, just because they're just larger figures. There's less of them, and they're bigger.
Oh my
I
God.
love that idea.
It is such a fun army to paint. Honestly.
Yeah, I watched
Yes.
your video on painting them in 24 hours or
Yeah,
some
yeah.
short time.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's totally doable because of that bigger space. Again, because they're simpler models. You have a lot of similar surfaces.
Yeah.
It can be very easy to work with things like you could do oil paints on them and do an awesome job. You could do an airbrush on them and do an awesome job. But that space is easy to navigate. They have really logical volumes. Like their muscles are extremely well defined.
Yes.
They all have very expressive faces. Like all the ogres
Yes.
have these really
Yes.
expressive faces.
Yeah. So I have this model purchased a long time ago. I actually bought it from someone who bought that box.
Gotcha.
And got like the sprues for it.
Yep.
Because he wasn't like available as a single figure immediately. And I am waiting for the day. I would love to paint this model.
Yeah, I mean, this is the one and I think you could My only thing with him, honestly,
Yeah.
is I would head swap him. I don't love his existing helm.
Okay. Okay.
And I think it would be cool to have more of like an open-faced ogre helm if he had a big top knot.
Yeah.
Because that's one of the looks of like some of the ogre leaders. They have the big, like top knots that go way down. And I think that could be cool, especially if it was like kind of off to the side, and maybe had a little bit of movement with him.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
There. And that would let you draw the reason I say that is because it's actually hard to draw attention to the center of this figure.
Okay.
Yeah.
To his face, right? Because there's so much other crap going on all over the place.
There is a
Yeah,
lot. There's a
yeah,
lot.
yeah.
Right? And so putting a normal head on him where you could then do like one of those sweet ogre tattoos, almost like a Jagati Khan tattoo is how I'm picturing
yeah,
it,
on the side
know?
of his face.
Yes.
That'd be so cool. Side note: can you play ogres in Mordheim? I don't think you can.
In Mordheim?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a fan made ogre warband, yeah.
Okay,
Like
okay.
it wasn't even fan made. Ogres, so there's 4 different levels of warbands in Mordheim.
Oh no.
There's the
We're cracking it up right now.
the official ones that were part of both either the book or then released officially.
Mm-hmm.
There's the Town Crier expansion ones, which are semi-official.
Okay.
There's the unofficial ones that got made as part of like the Mordheim Collective, and then there's just pure fan stuff that they've made. And in one of those is a couple different ogre warbands, as a matter of fact.
In one of those circles of hell, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I have all those files. I think I shared them out to you.
Yes,
so.
you did. But yeah, like speaking of underworlds, we've gotten so many cool one-off, lovely ogres. It'd be so cool to put together a little warband of specialized ogre characters.
Yeah.
The old man-eaters and this new stuff. Like, there's so many great designs.
Yes. You mentioned Mordheim. The Mordheim ogre is really good. The Curse City ogre character
Yeah.
Yes, he
is
Yes.
probably my second favorite sculpt in that box. Like he would have been my after the skeleton.
Skeleton.
Yeah. I would have picked like if you would have said no, Vince, you got to pick a single figure, a single character. I would have went to the ogre.
Okay.
He's good.
Because
Very
again, that guy's super awesome. Brutog Corpse Eater or whatever his name is.
Oh man, he eats corpses.
Yes,
Oh,
that's his whole thing. He just
I
eats
love
dead
that.
corpses. That's
I
why he's
love-
in Curse City.
I love that. That's so cool.
Because buffet.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, like, all the ogre characters are cool. I hope that at some point, now that we're starting to see some of these old characters get resculpted, like when we get the new books, what we've seen a couple times is the old Finecast stuff getting resculpts. I hope, fingers crossed, throw salt over the shoulder, knock on whatever wood you've got around you. The next time we get a book for ogres, can we please get new Butcher slash Slaughtermaster?
Yeah.
Those 2 figs are horrendous. They're some of the
Are they?
ugliest, worst figs in all of the history of
I kind of feel like I want to look
fantasy.
it up. 'Cause I feel
Oh,
like
boy.
I've loved every ogre character I've ever seen.
Trust me, if you held this thing in hand now, you would be like, oh God. You might just throw it away from you. Yeah,
It's frightening.
exactly. Like, they're so bad. Okay.
No.
They just, they're bad.
Let's leave it at that.
We'll leave it at that. They could use a resculpt. But, like, the new Tyrant, that new Brutog, even the ogre characters that are on the Stonehorns and the Thunder Tusks, those are good.
Yeah.
Somebody mentioned the Firebelly, the dude who's like,
Yes, that guy's awesome.
super cool. Dig
Yes.
that guy still. That sculpt still holds up
Yes,
fine.
it does.
What's the name of the fat guy who gets carried by a bunch of nobblers? And his pot of gold.
Oh,
What's his-
Greasus?
Greasus Goldtooth?
Greasus Goldtooth,
That's
yes.
such a cool idea for a model, too.
Yes. So like the ogre characters have classically been good, but just that Butch and that Slaughtermaster, boy oh boy, were they were never good. They were bad the minute they released, and then they've been. Time has not been kind. So fingers crossed. New. Somebody said the studio pictures of them are fine. Having the models in your hand makes you hate Warhammer.
Maybe that's why I am like not
Yeah.
totally on the same page. Because
They're-
the pictures look fine.
They're super bad. All right.
The Black Coach. What a
Black
classic
Coach.
model.
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
All right, who had the black coach?
Who
All right.
has the old pewter Black Coach?
You can kill somebody with it.
This guy. Yeah, dude, it's like a little chunk of, it's like a baseball made out of pewter.
It's not the most killy model.
Oh,
I
sure,
think the
sure.
most killy old model is the old Stegodon.
Okay.
Like
God.
the 5th edition Stegodon.
Okay.
Because that thing had spikes on it too.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Yes.
I thought you were going to say like Crusader or something like
No,
that.
you can actually, like, if you hold him right, the spikes come out between your fingers. You can just pop somebody. It's like
You just know this for
it's like
what
Stegodon.
reason?
Because I have a bunch of them.
Okay.
So it pains me to say, because I don't want this to be the truth, this is the best death model.
Okay.
What?
This is your pick.
This is my pick.
Yes.
This is better than anything in Soul Blight Gravelords. And I wish that there was an amazing vampire, or I wish that Vampire Lord and Zombie Dragon. Or
There is a vampire in that thing.
Yes, he's in the box.
What about
So
Nagash?
technically-
This is better than Nagash?
Much better than Nagash. Nagash is so corny. Bit the giant Pope hat. But this is like, it's got movement. It looks like it's taking off. There's so much going on, but it's not like I can't visually understand what's happening. It tells a little bit of a story. It's a big model. It is a centerpiece, and it's a super, super cool centerpiece.
Yes.
Everything about this, it's Santa's sleigh. Like the way that those horses are like taking off.
Yeah, sure. It's got kind of the coaches coming down and the
Yes.
horses are coming up
Yep,
thing.
they're just touching off like the Santa Claus, and just getting up again. So
Okay.
I don't know. It is just really, really well done. It is something that could not have been made 10 years ago.
Yeah.
The design work of this is so cool, and I love it.
My only issue with it, I agree it's an amazing model.
Yeah. I
Okay.
take no issue with this model at all.
Right. My only issue with it is even on the bigger base it's on, because it's on the Imperial Knight base.
Yes, it's a
Is
big
it
base.
oval? Is it oval?
Yeah, it's the 170 mil oval.
Oh wow. Okay, it's huge.
It's big.
Even on that base, it overhangs its base.
Oh.
Yeah, the horses are all flying up off the
But
base.
wouldn't you prefer that to being like oversized? I feel like if it's slightly undersized, it's kind of cool.
No, it's fine. It just means it's often annoying in play.
Oh, okay, yeah. It's
Right? Because you're like, oh, I'm going to charge you.
donk. Yeah,
Donk.
you're like headbutting people with like the hooves of the horses.
Right.
Yeah.
You got to Tokyo drift it in just
Well,
to
yeah.
help yourself out.
Yeah, I think you have to put it up on something.
Yeah.
Like Tom's Black
Clock
Coach,
tower.
he has a whole. Well, he built he took the mausoleum from
There you go.
the graveyard that's been released as a train kit under 5 different names.
Yeah,
over time,
Sigmarite
the Sigmarite
Mausoleum.
Mausoleum
Yeah.
or whatever, the Garden of War.
Yep.
He took one of those mausoleums, built that top of it, so it's like scraping along the roof of the.
Remember when he
that,
broke-
and then that
he
gets
broke
it
that?
up, so you can actually touch other models with the base.
He broke that at your house when we were over at your place.
He did.
Oh, Scott wasn't there. He wouldn't know. But
Yeah.
he was painting it. And he was like gluing it at this weird angle, propped against like a pop can
Tom was there
and a
too?
thing of chips. And like it had to hang just perfectly so it would glue in the angle that he wanted. And then later, like he grabbed chips and just the whole thing
Oh,
went
the chips! No.
just.
Yeah, we brought Tom up. We had to replace you. We needed a fourth, so
okay,
so
yeah,
Tom
yeah.
was the replacement.
That's good. That's
While
good.
we were all working on our models, Tom painted a whole army.
Yes, he painted
He
his
did, like, the whole
entire
army that we
entire
did.
Nikon army.
Seriously?
Oh, it was so much
I'm
stuff.
gonna ask Tom for speed painting tips.
I
dude.
know,
What the
he's,
heck?
he's got you covered. So yeah, I mean, the Black Coach is great. It's a super good example of, you're exactly right, what they can do now, and like dynamism
Yes.
in a model. Little shout out to the ghosts on the back who are just like hanging on and messing
Yes.
with the sword and stuff.
Carrying the sword.
Yeah, like those guys don't need to be there.
Yeah, I mean, but that's Nighthawk in a nutshell, right?
Right.
We don't make ghosts bigger. We just add on more
more
small
ghosts.
Just more ghosts.
Yeah, yeah.
Each ghost is doing its own thing.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like, oh, you're a ghost in a boat? Same size ghost. Just in a boat.
Yes. Okay, but so you truly think this is the best death model
Yes,
right
it is.
now?
Yes, it is. I picked this over each individual Crimson Court vampire. It's better than those. None of those I
Because
love.
Bigger?
No, I mean it is a display piece, and this piece could be asterisked out for your design pleasure in your army of choice. For me, I love dead things so much. This is the coolest dead thing. So this is my favorite.
Blood Knights?
Yeah, the new Blood Knights.
Yeah.
They're cool. They're definitely cool, but they don't have the grandeur of this thing.
Okay. I get you.
All right. I mean, I don't know that I would pick this over maybe, I had Radikar previously, or
Radikar is really good. Yeah.
or what's his name, head of the OBR guy, whose name eludes me at this moment.
Krakatoa.
Yeah, Krakatoa. Yeah, thank you.
Krakatoa is in
Like
my
just because Katakros has the whole
yes.
his whole court
Yes,
around
his
him, right?
is very,
but
very
I
good.
get it. That's also kind of cheating because Katakros again is like a bunch of models that aren't really connected in a logical way. They're all just standing around him. Yes, I get this is also a bunch of individual models you could claim because, like, well, there's horses and a guy driving the chariot and the dead vampire and the ghosts, but they all logically fit together
Yes.
here,
Yeah.
Yes.
right?
Yeah. A side note: if Samurai Bone Daddy was his own single model, he'd probably be on my top 5.
Sure.
Oh,
Samurai
yeah,
Bone
sure,
Daddy
for
is the
sure.
Off of
coolest.
Katakros's base, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that screams John.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sure.
It's a dead samurai. Come on.
That dude is sweet. All right. Oop.
God Summoner. This is a classic model.
Okay. So again, we'll give them a second to put the guesses in the chat as to who is this, whose model is the Gaunt Summoner.
I think there's so far in our list, there's one that I didn't know, and that was the Ogre Tyrant, because I think we could all pick that.
Yeah.
So I didn't know who picked it. I
Got it.
think I know whose this is.
So, this model didn't come out with Silver Tower. It was out well before that game, right?
So the Gaunt Summoner, I don't remember his
It's-
exact, because there's two different Gaunt
It's
Summoners.
had,
That's the
yeah,
trick.
it's had versions.
There's a Gaunt Summoner on disc, and then I think this is the Silver Tower version.
Yes.
There's the one on foot, I think, came out with Silver Tower. The one on disc came out before with the Ever-Chosen release with Archeon and the Baron Guard.
Okay.
That sounds correct.
Oh, man. Baron Guard. Totally forgot about them.
So, like, all right, I picked the Gaunt Summoner. I actually like this one on foot. It's not that the disc one is incredibly similar, and yes, this one's my model. I freaking love this dude, and I'll tell you why. I like models that you look at and you get, like, the entire faction that they're a part of, boom, you know it.
Yeah.
Right?
So
you
identifiable.
get the feel, you get what they're all about, and everything about Tzeentch is in this weird model.
Yeah.
His actual symbol is his staff. He's got the extra eyeballs. Tzeentch loves extra eyes. His eyes aren't on his face; they're up here,
On whatever the hell
right,
that is.
on whatever his head fins are.
His McDonald's
Right.
golden arches.
Yeah, exactly. Right? But that makes his face so creepy because he doesn't have a nose, he doesn't have eyes, he just has this like big horror movie mouth.
Like mouth of Sauron kind of thing.
He's got the 3 arms, which I love Tzeentch things with 3 arms.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Magic book, magic dagger, stabbing into the magic book, releasing magic.
Yes. The feathers, the whole bird motif.
Yep. Every motif and theme of Tzeentch is in this one model.
Yeah.
Right? And
And the stabbing the book is really kind of the coolest thing, I think.
absolutely.
That is so cool.
You gotta kill that Horcrux, you know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah, it's kind of like that, yeah.
I like the feathers on the cloak, too.
Yes.
They go down, the swooping shawl. It's very...
I have a question for you,
He's
Vince.
static but with movement.
Yes.
He's beautiful to paint. I have this guy in my Tzeentch army. I painted him and I really loved him. For me, it came down, by the way, to this guy or the Changeling, who I think is another really, really solid hero from this line. He's just doing more. The Changeling's a little too like, I'm a guy in robes. So you look cool, but that's
Like,
it.
stab words,
Hit me with your
stab
question.
words.
So how much does Tzeentch kind of lending itself to your favorite colors influence your decision about liking Tzeentch?
Oh, I mean, 100%. That's part of it. Yes.
Okay.
Like, yeah, I mean, I don't like green or disease or gross things, and I have tryptophobia, so Nurgle presents a very big problem to me, right? All the other Chaos Gods, I have an army of all the other Chaos Gods.
Right, okay.
So Nurgle's, I guess I kind of have a Nurgle army now, like 1,000 points of Nurgle.
I
But
kind of, yeah.
but I have a huge Tzeentch army, and yes, absolutely. I mean, their colors are like bright blue into teal, cyan, aqua kind of range, pink, and purple. Like, okay, you got me.
I'll buy the models.
Yep. I mean, 100%. It's cool to be able to work in colors you like and have it feel like it's appropriate for those models.
Yeah, I get that. Cool.
Right.
I get that.
But yeah, I just love this dude. I think he's like a singularly great model in a range, and there's not many others out there that are such perfect encapsulations of everything about
That's true.
the particular god.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there you go.
Good choice. Good choice.
Indeed.
Not one that I would have picked, but I respect it. I
I
respect it.
very good. All right.
Let me see what's coming up next.
Speaking of Varadgar,
Speaking of,
the Ever-Chosen's elite.
yeah, so
Varangard.
I read a book like about like chaos and
I like how I misspelled Varangard
When it's
down at the
spelled
bottom
right
when it's spelled correct.
Oh,
up above.
no. Vince, come on.
It's like literally right in my
You're
face.
so on top of your stuff, like in every other aspect of your life.
I was typing this. Okay, quick behind the scenes
Oh
story
yeah,
here.
yeah.
The picks to put together this prezzo came to me about 20 minutes before I had to go to the airport to get on an aeroplane to fly over here.
Yeah.
So I'm like trying to bang all this together on my computer while also finishing up last work emails and
You're
set
like,
everything up I
you're
need.
dueling keyboards.
Like I'm like trying to have phone conversations with people to make sure everything's gonna be fine while I'm gone from because I'm away from work for a couple of days, and then I have to I go boom, save it, good, send it to myself so that way I've got copies of it and it's make sure it's saved up into OneDrive and everything, and then close everything down, go upstairs, tell my wife right we're leaving. So that's
yeah.
wasn't exactly a lot of time.
Right.
Anyways,
We don't have time to spell words correctly.
that's right.
These
All right,
guys are big.
they are.
Okay, this is me. This is the model. This is the closest thing to nostalgia you'll ever find for me
Oh, let's hear
in
it.
Warhammer. When I first found out about painting miniatures from a local store, they had the Age of Sigmar, original Age of Sigmar box set out there. And these had, it wasn't when it was just released, but when I first discovered it, these had just come out.
Yeah.
And these are a bit of age 9 to 13 John, 100%. It feels like 80s, 90s bad guy cartoons.
Sure.
In the worst way of just being over the top, just being so deadly, so nasty, and filled with gobbledygook, and I love it.
They're like the armored guys. They're Thulsa Doom's
Oh,
armored raiders,
Yes.
right? But then tilted even more,
Yes.
right? Like those guys on tilt.
Yes.
describing them that way makes me want to buy them even
Yes.
more.
Now, the only pushback I have on these guys is that, man, I am glad they only come 3 to a box because they are a project.
Yes. Yes.
Like I've painted 4 of these,
Ugh.
which is a weird number.
Yeah.
I have a unit of 3 for my Zinj army, okay? And then I wanted to make a special converted lord out of one of them for my Slaanesh Slaves of Darkness army. So I used one of these bodies and made a Chaos Lord on them on
Was
the
it
mount.
before or after you painted the 3?
After.
So you knew what you were getting.
I
into.
knew what I was getting
Okay.
into. I still have the other 2 in the box.
Okay.
They're there, just maybe sometime we'll get used.
One of the only unpainted models in Vince's house.
There's way too many of those there now these days. But they are busy.
Yes,
Yeah.
they're busy. And most stuff I don't like that when stuff are too busy, but these are this is my kind of excess. It's like excess in evil. And everything is some evil texture and some evil surface, some evil filigree in detail. And they look they feel like the harbingers of death. Like they really
Yeah.
are riding in to decimate everything.
Well, also they're not crap on crap on crap.
Right.
Okay,
It's
they're
one layer.
It's one layer. It's just an extremely detailed layer, right? Because all of the armor has the filigree around every part. The flat armor panels themselves have the chaos symbols of different kinds etched into them, right? So they're logical to resolve. You don't look at them and go, wait, is this a belt or a buckle or a bajangle on top of a belt buckle bajangle?
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
It's just, there's a lot to it.
They're my favorite chaos model overall. I just think that they scream chaos to me. When I think chaos, I think of the Ever-Chosen, of
Yeah, sure.
of the chaos gods and stuff are all cool, but these guys are I just love them. So yeah.
So-
They're also one of the first mounted models, and I know there were some before them, including the Wood Elf ones on the Elk, that really have captured more movement and dynamic horse movement.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Realistically,
Yeah.
now it's kind of the norm, but back then,
Yeah.
these really felt like they weren't just you think about the old mounted chaos knights,
Sure.
and it just felt so heavy and God, and like a prancing
one leg.
Yes,
Yeah.
one leg slightly up, and so these were just oh man, this feels real action at the table. You can like visualize these guys trampling over whatever was in their way. So I love them. And then you put them on the table and you see like a regular size cavalry next to them.
Oh my god.
Put these next to
They
it.
look like babies.
Yeah, I know.
It looks like a regular old Chaos Knight looks like this guy's dog
Yeah.
riding beside him.
And I just love that.
Yeah.
It's a unit
They're
of 3
scary.
heroes, man.
They're scary. Like they're scary to look at, and they're tiny little piece of plastic. So I love that.
Yeah. And so, hey, what's up, Zumakito? How you doing? And he said my eyes have some problems, trying to figure out where to look on these models. So one of the things I did, because I don't disagree with that, I actually don't. The only part of this model I don't love is the Chaos heads feel, I don't know, weird. Their heads are kind of overwrought, like the writers' heads.
Yeah.
Okay. So I actually swapped their heads for more simple designs, like more simple heads,
Helmeted
exposed
heads?
Chaos heads or helmeted heads. Yeah, so
Okay.
like 2 of them have helmeted heads and 1 has an exposed head.
Okay.
And it's amazing, like it actually draws your attention much better when you look at the model then, because there's a place where you can really push the highlights and the brightness without it being overwhelming in the center of the figure.
Okay.
So I found it made a big difference.
Okay.
So, okay.
Good pick. Good pick.
Absolutely.
Funny you just said, oh, I forgot about Varangar.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, that's a good pick. You gotta show my unpainted model. Vince. God
Why do you
damn
share it? You gave it to him?
I mean, I was like, okay, I'm gonna pick models. I'm gonna look at ones that I actually own first, right?
Sure.
And so I thought, for simplicity's sake, I would just take pictures of them. I guess I could have just wrote it out. But talking about the best death model, this is it. Neferata, dude. Come on. I love a mean lady, and she is the meanest lady. I mean, and the models, all the Morparks are awesome, but
Yes,
she's
they
the
are.
best. Side saddle, she's got
Yes.
an elegance, but she's still killing everybody. Like, come on, this is the queen of the dead right here.
Yeah. Her Neferata herself, 100% agree with you.
Oh yeah,
She is an awesome model. That thing she's riding, 7 out of 10. 6.5
kinda
out
like
of
how-
10.
Do you not like all of their kitty cats? Because each of them has their own different kitty cat version.
it being a big dumb skeleton is what I don't like.
Okay.
Okay.
I like.
I don't dislike it.
So the way I'm painting it right now is I'm painting it with a burnt bone, and the ghosts on the inside are like this, like red, white, pink, and I
Yep.
really like that kind of like that glowing, like internal look, which I kind of lifted from. I think it was Archon the Black, or was it Manfred who had like an orange skeletons inside?
Yeah. Manfred has the orange skeletons
Yeah.
inside, yeah.
I love that idea so much. I think it works so well with this model. But yeah, I love Neferata. She's my favorite character in all of Warhammer lore. I love her.
Okay. So I like her mount the best of all of the mounts.
I agree. Yeah.
I think the
Okay.
head of hers is my least favorite. This weird.
Really?
Like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, see-
it is quite large.
I like it because it's bigger and because it's like blind. Like it has its faceplate down over where its eyes are. I just think that actually is a neat look that sets it aside from the other
Sure.
abyssal mounts. Okay. And I do think she, like, of the 3 of them, I agree she's the best sculpt.
Yes.
Like, because she has much more character. Archon feels, he's okay. I would rate him number 2. Manfred, I think, is the worst of the 3, just because I don't really like Manfred's sculpt.
Yeah.
I don't either.
Although I do like his kitty cat second best.
Yeah.
Yes.
Ashigaru.
Other than
whatever his name is.
having
forehead.
bone bat ears, because ears aren't made of bone, but
Sure.
his
Yeah,
thing's
yeah.
got ears.
Yeah, he has, like-
Right.
Yes, he does. He has, yes, his has bat ears.
Right.
Bone
Because he like bats.
His cartilage.
Yeah.
Manfred like bats.
He Batman.
Yeah, he bat guy. So I mean, look, you get to do whatever you want. He's just over there chipping away. He probably sculpted that out of magic or whatever.
Sure.
You know?
Out of magic bone. That's it. We got
You
it.
can make it look like whatever you want, you know?
Yeah. I
The
don't
ears
like
don't
that
need to be functional.
I just wish they weren't. just
Batman has
skeletons.
ears, they're not doing anything.
You can poke with them, can't you?
You want to see like some flesh on this? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, this is so OBR for me. I wish they just weren't a big skeleton. And actually, I've seen a kit bash of these of the mounts that looks 10 times better, and they're like in the hover pose. They're like back up, fully vertical.
Yeah, sure.
And the head sticking out. And if you took that, like a hover pose of these things, and they put Tyranid wings on them, and then you put the big Crimson Court Goliath dude, and you put him just like standing on his shoulder. Because I don't think vampires should be in a saddle. They don't need that. They can stand on top of a dragon's head. They can stand on his shoulder. They're vampires.
You're saying all vampires have
All
spider
vampires.
climb all the time?
Yes.
Yeah.
They're just standing there stoic as the thing is flying in, because that's a vampire thing to do.
Sure.
So
That is a baller move. Standing on your mount, surfing on your mount is
Yes.
the most baller
Yeah.
of moves. Maybe, though, I would just point out that Neffy's pose also isn't really riding it in the traditional
Right.
way.
Oh, she's like-
She's just like relaxed and chilled.
Oh,
Like
the
this is
circumstance.
yeah, like this is all beneath her.
I know.
Yes.
I know. Yeah.
Which
Absolutely.
also
It
makes a
oozes
statement.
vampire. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, like she's not just sitting there like this.
right,
Yeah.
like Manfred.
Right.
He's just like
Yeah. It's like ah.
I love her. I love her model. It's
Yeah.
very, very good.
But speaking of like modern casting technology, she came out around End Times, right? All
Yep.
the Mortarks did.
Yep.
But you put these guys together, right? Have you put a Mortark together ever?
Yep.
Like they're kind of like bouncing on top of like the tail a little bit. But
Yeah, they
they're
have a
cool.
spring to them.
Right, they're lifted up. They're like flying off into the sky. So it's like a really cool dynamic.
I
Pose.
think they are the initial Boingy Factor models. Aren't
They are. Yeah.
The Boingy Factor
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
above a 7. These
Yeah.
are the initial.
Oh yeah,
ones.
big time. Big
Yeah,
time boing.
I built mine as so. I've only ever put together one of this kit, the Mortar kit. I put mine together as Archon at the time because it was there to go with my Tomb King's army as
sure.
part of the end time. Like I had,
Oh, you're one of them.
well, I have 13,000 points of painted Tomb King, so I had a whole contingent that was like Archon's people loyal to Nagash, and then I had a much bigger thing that was Cetra's.
Yeah. Okay. So you're like
Thing,
the
right?
Black Pyramid thing, and okay.
Yeah. So
You wouldn't get this. It's okay.
You're talking lore. I'm falling asleep.
but I did paint Neffy actually. Like I painted her separate, and I just used her as a vampire lord.
Nice.
So,
Beat me.
all right. Yeah, 5 years ago. All right, next. Okay.
Ah, yeah.
I saw. Speaking of Trevelyan being in the chat, the
Yeah.
Ogroid Myrmidon.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is Trevelyan's pick.
Yes, pick.
His pick.
All right, so got guesses in the chat of whose this one was. We'll give them a moment.
So obviously I just went, so it's likely not
I
me.
mean, we haven't had any back-to-backs yet, but I feel like that's a thing Vince would do.
Okay.
He would do a back-to-back.
It could be a
just to
thing I
throw
would
it,
do.
Just to throw it out at you.
Could be a thing I would do.
Okay.
Uh,
It says has to be Vince, E1 Miniatures.
All right, a lot
That's
of people
enough.
saying me.
That's more Vince's.
All right, whose is this?
This is me.
Okay,
This is John's.
I actually didn't know, but I know you've talked about this a lot.
I love
so-
this miniature. I wanted to do this for Golden Demon, but then Trov painted it so well. I'm like, nah.
Nah.
But like, I love me a monster plus man, right? It's all back to the original mythology of the Minotaur. And so that is just one of the scariest things. It is a truly scary beast, but it's enough human to know that the real beast is the people, So this is the epitome of this in Age of Sigmar, and it is. I just love everything about it. The pose where he's pushed forward and he's got this nasty spear and shield that are slightly back. His thigh up front with all the scars.
Yeah.
It's got the hooves.
Nice open pose.
Yep, there's
Big
a lot.
surface areas.
There's a lot of skin to paint.
Yeah.
The gnarly face is just like screaming. I can like almost visualize the saliva coming out of his mouth. One of my original favorite models was the Ogroid Thermitage from
Yes.
what was that?
Also from Silver Tower.
Silver
Yeah.
Tower. And then this one just kind of surpassed it. It
I
was
agree.
just a more badass version of that. So, yeah, I love it. I think if there's something that it's not a 10 out of 10 to me, it's the horns are a little bit too much. Where they're out and there's another horns and then there's side horns.
Yeah,
and
the
there's
horns
front
on horns thing.
Yeah,
Horns on horns, dude.
that's the only thing.
So I agree with all of everything you just said. I agree with you completely. This dude is awesome. Are you excited that we're getting Ogroid Therodons or whatever, the new Ogroid unit?
Unit of Orgroids.
Yeah.
From Potato Pick, I didn't. They didn't scream. They felt a little bit too chonky and not as much movement as this guy. But again, I have to see it in like
Sure, of
a
course.
real 10.
We're not going to totally judge from
Yeah.
Potato from the 1997
Yeah.
Nokia pick.
Yes. We need more than 30 picks.
I've often said that slaves when I originally figured out trying to pick which army I was going to play when I first got into Age of Sigmar, this was my two choices, was death or them. And so
Wait, who's them?
Slaves to Darkness.
Slaves to Darkness,
Oh, okay.
And
okay.
so,
I was
because
like,
they're pure '80s bad guys, and so this guy he falls right into that for me. And so having them as a unit, oh yeah, that's a bit of me. I like that.
Can I also just say that I love shirtless, muscular dudes?
Yes.
Okay, sure. To paint.
Okay. Okay.
Just
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. Wait.
I mean,
Generally.
specifically. In this case, that's what we're talking about. No, I mean, like, I love good muscle structure, well defined, right? And like this dude's muscles are just awesome. Like the way the sculpting on them, in like look at like the detail around the shoulder muscle, the striations, and in the like pecs and that kind of change. I love when you get that kind of detail in the muscle where it just feels like this dude is just ripped, like he's made of solid steel cables under there.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
question for you.
Yes.
What are your thoughts on Wrathmongers and the equivalent unit you can build?
Yeah, the Skull Reapers.
Yeah.
I don't like that they're all wearing hammer pants.
Yeah.
Hammer pants is a term?
Yeah, sure. They get hammer pants like MC Hammer. You got
Oh,
the big
okay.
floofy
Parachute pants.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Or aprons.
They're like wearing like armored parachute pants and aprons, and then nothing up top. I like them. I don't like the whippy dippy flails.
Yeah.
Are just the stupidest weapon in the world to me,
Yeah.
because I'm like, those guys would just kill themselves. I just can't suspend my disbelief enough that they run into fights going like
and not just murdering each other. Yeah.
right, because they're not masters of martial skill. They're just lunatics
Yeah.
swinging hammers on chains.
Yeah.
It's not going to end well. But I like the core model itself.
Yeah.
There's a lot of concussions that happen on a daily basis in that team.
That's why they're so angry.
Yes. I can't remember.
So yeah, like those are good, but this is like the perfected form of that to me.
Yeah. No.
You know.
It is a great monster.
Yeah.
It is.
Okay.
All right.
We got
Mogwaith and her blade coven.
Can we discuss how to pronounce this person's name? Is it Mogwith or is it Mogwith?
I have no
Mogwith?
idea. Mogwai?
Mogwith.
Obviously, we're talking about the center figure here, but I did include the whole thing because I mean the whole Blade Coven is
There's a
obviously
lot of good
fantastic.
ones.
So
Yeah. Ben painted this for a Golden Demon.
yes, he did.
It's a
Ben
great
Gandor.
model.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he painted Mogwaith herself.
Yeah.
So whose pick do you think this is? We'll give a second there.
I think this could be either of you. This is tough. I don't know whose it is.
I think it could be either of you.
Oh, okay. So then that leads us to believe. Bum, bum, bum.
No, this is yours.
This is mine.
Damn it.
Yeah.
You fucking bamboozled me.
He gotcha.
Got him.
I have a thing, I like elves, right?
Sure.
I've always liked dark elves too. I never actually dabbled in dark elves like the army, but I played Dark Eldar.
Yeah.
So, dark elves have always been kind of an interest of mine, and as we discussed, the Underworld's war bands are amazing. And I think one that definitely rises to the top is Mogwith's Blade Coven. And it's just because of that chick in the middle. Well, not just because, but I think that's the biggest reason. I took her top half and turned her into a Blood Knight, actually. I loved how she had that chalice.
Sure.
You know, it just felt kind of vampiric in a way. But yeah, I love that model in the middle.
Yeah, I mean, all of these are absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
That's the bottom line. Like the obviously, I do have a Daughters of Cain army. I didn't paint this Underworld's Warband for it yet.
I'm surprised.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of came out after I had finished my Daughter's army, and so it's often hard for me to go back to a project because like I got the army to where I was really happy with it. I have like 3,000 points, I think, painted, something like that. And like I was really happy with where it was, and I liked what I did, and it's just, you move on to other projects. But it really tempted me. I mean, she is gorgeous. This, again, is, to me, they took the concept of all of the older dark elf sculpts, and then pushed them both in the initial launch of the dock when you got like the snake ladies and the Canary and stuff like that, right?
Yes.
But then this let us also reimagine the witch elves and the Sisters of Slaughter. Like that sister who's just, who's like up like this, like coming off the rock.
Yeah.
I don't know of another figure anywhere that's posed so dynamically.
Yeah.
Where her hand is the lowest point on the miniature.
Yeah.
The rest of her is up above that, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And
For the longest time, I kind of felt like homeless in Age of Sigmar because like none of my armies were like getting cool models, and I was
Sure.
always flirting with the idea of playing a Daughters of Cain army because they always just look so cool. And you have one as well?
I do, yes.
I mean, you have like 13 armies, right?
20, but yes.
Those numbers keep growing.
20, but you know, who's counting?
By the time this episode over, it's gonna be 21.
Yeah, no kidding. Vince is gonna have painted an army in this episode.
But like honestly, this is a great army to. I mean, obviously, it's getting a new book here in sometime soon.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of the 2 books that's coming out along with Ghosts.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's a very, very, very fun army to play. It's always been competitive.
Yeah.
Without usually being overbearing. Like, it's just always remained solidly competitive. And you can run it, like, over time, it's been run in different ways. We'll see how when the new book comes out, like, is it more you want a lot of little girls? Maybe you want more of the elite stuff? You know, so we'll see how the new one shakes out. But it is it's a very compelling army to run because you've always, in every incarnation of it, just had multiple books and stuff like that over time, it's always felt like you were doing the thing. Like, hey, we are a bunch of murder witches who worship Cain.
Yeah.
And are seeking after murder. Like, we run out the enemy and we're just going stabbing, right? And it's blood to offer to Cain, right? That is what the army feels like. Like, it plays, it feels, it runs like it says on the tin. And these sculpts captured that really well. I always did all my models with the hair. Like, I never just did the Sisters of Slaughter face mask without
Right,
the hair.
right.
Because I just think the hair is, like, the coolest part of them.
Yeah.
Right.
I love the
80s hair
old...
metal.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Like, that 4th, 5th edition cover of, like, of the Dark Elves with the witch elf on the cover with her hair just be like, pow!
Yeah.
Right? She actually has the corn symbol in that picture because that was what they were... Yeah, because at that time, like, Cain was just their name for corn was basically the trick of it.